Hello, everyone. If you're producing live news, sports, or any other kind of programming in the field, connectivity is one of your very top concerns. Dejero has been a leader in connectivity since it was founded in 2008. In fact, Dejero is TV News Check's connectivity partner here at NAB, and we're transmitting right now out of the Las Vegas Convention Center, booth W1435, on an NGO unit. I'm here today, I'm Kathy Haley, and I'm the publisher of TV News Check, and I'm here today with Jeremy Miller, Global Director of Technical Account Management at Dejero. He is here to talk to us about the state of the art. Jeremy, 5G, buzzword. Fill us in. What's the latest with 5G and the NGO?
Thank you. So the latest with the NGO 5G unit, our NGO 3 family of products, is we're going to go ahead and take a step over here as we're walking. We're going to take a look at our first one, which is the NGO 3. So the big thing about the NGO 3 is its capability to be able to just do use 4 5G modems. And what we really did is we took the time to really design our product based on RF performance, because the modems are more than capable of doing the bandwidth that we need to do a live broadcast. So what we were able to do is actually take that, add some antennas in there, optimize it, and we're able to get more bandwidth with less modems. So what this allows you to do is not only be able to broadcast live on reliable connections, it also allows you to flip this into a gateway mode, which is something we added with our NGO 265 product family line. And we're able to flip this into a gateway, which allows you to do more in the field with less. So this allows you to get rid of all these individual hotspots on these different carriers and be able to do everything in one. So it allows people to do a lot more with less, and it's not just a mobile transmitter anymore. The big thing on this is with the antenna design that we were discussing, is we went from having 2 antennas per modem to having 4 antennas per modem. So that really does optimize and allow us to get more bandwidth and better connectivity, because that's really the thing that we need to try to maximize to help offload the traffic to the carriers.
And do we want to talk about the NGO 3 and 3X?
So this is the 3. This is the 3. The big difference between the NGO 3 and the 3X is the 3X, which was announced last year, is our multiple camera unit. It also does 4K. One thing that's new that we just announced is the NGO 3S, which is just like this one, except now it's 4K capable. So we have different use cases out there as we're building out the portfolio of products for the NGO 3. So it's using the hardware in different ways and adding different things, because we really try to listen to our customers and hear what they say and what they're asking. And really they looked at it and said, you know what, we'd like that in a 4K option and a single one. So therefore now that's why we've helped develop our products as we keep moving through and evolving and working with our customers to design our roadmap and really help them in the field and with what they are asking for.
And Dejero has something called the network of networks. You're blending a lot of different transmission modes into one unit. Talk about how does that set you apart?
So how that really sets us apart for the blending, we call it the smart blending technology of our network of networks. So the great thing about that is really the best way to explain that is through our gateway mode. The gateway mode it's a bunch of connections that we bring into one. So therefore our users see one public-facing IP address, so therefore they're able to do advanced networking with our devices. They're able to do a lot more with that. And it's a seamless one connection. So that way everything gets funneled through there. So people really like that, because now that they can peer in, you can remote control products such as like PTZs if you're doing a remote production or lighting or anything like that. Because a lot of times people are, trying to cut back on travel costs or this, that, and the other to save them. So we're enabling that by giving our devices more capability and more connectivity in the field.
And so if one fails, you have 4 others.
Yes, so we have that on here. We also have the ability to connect a different WAN. And I'll walk you over here. We actually have a live demo of our 265, which is similar to, or it's the LTE version of our NGO. So we'll walk over here and we'll start going over that. So the big thing is this is an example of what we can do with our NGO, and it's providing internet right here on the booth. We also have partners at the trade show who are actually using this for internet in their booth right now.
I'm not
so they're not getting hard lines, and like due to cost and whatnot, they said, hey, why don't we work with our partner Dejero and get internet for our booth. So the great thing about this is we can simply run a speed test. And while this is running a speed test, we can sit there and see what performance we're getting. Right now, we're actually simulating a vehicle. So we have the Engo vehicle mount over on this side. And the vehicle mount is running antennas up to the roof because we really just want to get out of the booth and try to get above the crowd to try to get the best we can network performance-wise. And that's really, once again, based on the network. So that's one of the things we are constantly seeing is we try to maximize our connection to the towers. Once again, because we can throw more modems at it, there's different approaches on how you want to go after this and get more bandwidth and reliable connectivity, but we still maintain carrier diversity with our multiple modems, even on the 4 modems on our 5G unit, which also are configurable, so we can have people use, if they want 2 T-Mobile in the US or they want 2 Verizon, it gives them the freedom to be able to, base on their market, determine which carriers they go with to have the redundancy in there as well.
And so it's counting. Is this what I see in the car? If I have this in a vehicle,
so this is just an example of the total amount of bandwidth that you could possibly get. So what this allows people to do is, let's say I'm doing getting my package ready to go before I go to transmit, right? Or before I want to send it back. This way I can move it as a file and move it a lot faster than over single hotspots. Because the big thing that we always hear from our customers is that they're using a single MiFi, single modem unit to try to move files. And then they run into carrier issues. They're like, well, I have a Verizon and I may not have coverage here, or I have an AT&T and I don't have coverage here. So where this really comes in handy is now it's a blended connection and it's carrier agnostic, so whatever they have available at that location, they can use to move files and pull files too. So if they need to pull files too, and also help accelerate on-ramp to cloud as people are moving more of their production quality stuff to the cloud. So this helps that on-ramp to help things get faster, which we always know we're always under a time crunch moving in this space. So we want to try to optimize that and minimize the risk as much as we can.
I love that there are people using the Dejero Engo in here. TV News Tech produced a conference once at a hotel I will not mention, and they wanted to charge us $22,000 for an internet connection for one day. And we said, can we call it Dejero?
This is honestly what we hear frequently is like a lot of our partners, once they learn that it's more than just a transmitter and they learn about this capability, people are walking around with it in their backpacks. Like eventually you could possibly see people walking around in crowds and whatnot. If they don't want to carry a shoulder-held camera, they can actually be able to carry a device and a mobile device, and they can hotspot they can connect Wi-Fi to an Engo running gateway mode in their backpack and able to do live transmissions and not have to be carrying around a shoulder camera in a crowd, which may draw attention depending on what they're doing.
What's the difference between gateway mode and the gateway? Because we used it was like the size of a microwave oven.
Yeah.
So how does it get into this little machine?
So the great thing that we've moved over the years is we've progressed to the point where we migrated away from Windows and now we're on the Linux platform, and all of our products are now on that platform. So now we took that capability because it was already there, and now we are essentially just running that on our Engo, and we're running different applications on it.
So it's a software.
Yeah. So for us, it's getting to the software to be able to run it. It's our core software. It's really the core of what we do. So it's that smart blending technology. And we evaluate the networks and everything else. I guess that's the smart blending technology and the special sauce that, or depending on what you hear and what you talk to people about, but whatever you refer to as, that's what we do really well.
Interesting. Where do you see this going, Jeremy? What's the next horizon for this kind of technology, blended technology, and what Dejero does?
Well, I think it really is driven by the market, and I think a lot of people going to doing so much more automation and cloud, so it really requires a more robust, reliable connection in the field. And that's something that why we're moving down this route of really taking this into effect is like we're trying to be an on-ramp for people. We're trying to help people have reliable internet wherever they go. So that means they can plug in and do whatever they need to do. We have mobile command centers, mobile production trucks, all operating on gateways and whatnot. And so that way it could be, if you want to use our encode, you can. If you want to use a different encoder, you can do that as well. It doesn't matter. Like you can make sure that this works because the core software is so solid.
Why does the cloud make connectivity a little trickier?
Well, it makes it a little trickier only because the where you egress from, and like you know, you may be pointed to different regional ones, so you may deal with a little bit of latency, a little bit of things like that. So where we really try to optimize the cloud portion of that is really trying to be close in proximity. We can also land it because a lot of customers are having their own cloud instance in, let's say, AWS or whatever. We're now able to offload in there and keep it local in the AWS, which allows them to cut down latency, to get things moving faster and run more applications, because some applications are very latency sensitive. So it really is optimizing what they're doing now in the field.
Interesting. Other next steps?
Other next steps is obviously like driving and going to more multiple cameras and seeing many other use cases that we look out there, and looking at different devices. So going more mobile, going smaller, possibly, you know, we're going to have other devices you're going to take out the encoder application, and you may just need a mobile hotspot with less modems. And then also learning and evolving as 5G evolves. So we have a lot of regions and areas that we go where 5G's, you know, more in the city, but as soon as you get outside that city core center, it gets a little spotty. So as the networks grow, we grow and we learn with them as well, because we're getting analytics, we're getting stuff from the field, and we're really trying to work with our carrier partners to help optimize their own networks too, and help us be able to get more bandwidth and help customers collectively.
Let me go back to the cloud for just a minute. Remote production. It seems to me like that is probably where the cloud is more being used. Talk about remote production.
So for us, remote production really is enabling whatever people use. So what really is where we fit in that one, where we really optimize on that is where we're able to actually have a solid connection in the field. So we try to be agnostic. So whatever IP workflows are in, we are helping supplement that. One thing that I think is really great about what we've been able to do is people just plug in and see what's going on. And over the pandemic, what we've really noticed is it helps kind of expedite the progression from analog per se, where you need to have all this staff on site and you need to do all these things, have these big massive productions, to now you can be like, all right, hey, that device is now IP capable, that device is now IP capable, and it's really helped push things along on the networking side of things, which of course we help enable with that reliable internet connection in the field.
Yikes, you're doing a great job, Jeremy, in this very noisy, very crowded Dejero booth here at W West Hall 1435 at NAB convention in Las Vegas. Did you want to take us? I know it's crowded. I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit more about the other Endo device.
Well, I was going to say we can walk over here and take a look a little bit at this. Yes. So this is a great example of the visually see the gateway mode working. So it's simulating multiple carriers on this one. So in the US, this is like your T-Mobile, your Verizon, and AT&T's. It's simulating that and passing through our gateway service, which is our cloud portion. So this way we can offload and enable you to do a lot of different things. Another great thing that this enables you to do is security. So a lot of people are looking for secure connectivity as well. So it's not just needing an internet. They need to have it secure in protecting their content. So that's something that we're really helping and enable with this as well, because you can run VPNs on top of our service. You can run different types of authentications and everything else. The great thing about having a blended connection versus a single connection when you're running a VPN, when you're running a single connection on a VPN, or running a VPN over a single connection, what happens is if you lose that connection, you lose your VPN. So then you have to re-log in. You could be in the middle of something, uploading a file or whatever, and it drops, and then you have to restart, or you have to do all that again. The great thing about having a blended connection and doing that application, if one connection fails, it doesn't matter, because as long as there's one other connection on there, you'll get what you need to get, and it'll still move on there as carriers will come and go. So that's one of the things that we do really well.
I'm glad you mentioned security, because it's an increasing focus for companies, media companies, in part because insurance companies, cybersecurity insurance companies are requiring your media partners to audit you and find out how you're protecting them. So is it mostly VPN that they're using?
So we can do VPN. We also have the ability to encrypt video streams as well. So you can encrypt the video streams on our Engos. That's something we've added in there as well. So now you have encryption on there and whatnot. The other thing that we do work with is a lot of times is our receivers, getting them into to the corporate infrastructure. So we work with them on developing rules on their firewalls, being able to help provide security against malware and protect the devices, so that way they can be comfortable with what they're doing every day, so that way they can monitor things as well. So there's a lot of very interesting things we've been working with IT departments more at stations now. Yeah, that's really where it's going, right? And then you also have going from SDI infrastructures to IP infrastructures. Those are also things that we're looking at, different output IP capabilities on there, such as MPEG-TS, SRT, and NDI as well.
It's been talked about for years, but it's becoming much more of a concern, cybersecurity. So anything else I should ask you about, Jeremy?
I mean, the big thing on us, or with us, is like we're able to blend with multiple connections. Sorry. Yep. Well, I think the big thing too is just to hint at here. This is actually at Engo 3S. This is something I'll hit on this one last time before is the Engo 3S is our latest one that was announced. So it's able to do 4K, and that's something in a single in, single out. So it opens up a lot of capabilities. One thing I'm really proud of so far is the feedback we've been getting on the Engo 3 in the field has been phenomenal. We've been able to do a lot of crunching of bandwidth as well. So we work in very bandwidth constrictive environments that you guys are always going into, crowds and whatnot, everyone's showing up with their backpacks. So the great thing that we've been able to do, and just an example of this, is I was able to do a test, and I was testing in a basement at a customer site in Washington, D.C. We were able to do a 1 megabit stream at HD at 500 milliseconds of latency, glass to glass, on 2 modems. So only half of the modems were connected, and I was still able to get an HD signal out at 1 meg. It really speaks to the efforts of our technical teams, our hardware team and software team, of what they've been able to do with this. It's been impressive.
So the 4K capability isn't just for sports, and if some of the transmitters are out, you get a better HD too. Interesting. Well, we've been here at Dejero in the West Hall of the LVCC in W1435, talking to Jeremy from Dejero about the state-of-the-art in connectivity. And thank you very much, Jeremy. I appreciate it.